To the show this morning. We have an exciting guest for you today, Mason Cosby, here with us. We are doing, if you haven't noticed yet, we've been doing 30 days of Stoke pretty much every morning for this month. We're doing 30 logos in 30 days in 30 minutes. So it's fast. It is not our full normal process. It's more of a brainstorm session that kind of kicks out something, hopefully, fingers crossed, usable by the end of the session. So first 10 minutes of the segment is kind of a get to know you session with the guests so that you guys can get to know them. Sometimes I know him, sometimes I kind of know him, sometimes I really know him. Mason's kind of in the middle there. I've been on his podcast one time, so we spent about an hour talking. Haley's here. What side are you going on? So yeah, I kind of know Mason, know what he's up to, but you guys might not. So we'll go ahead and kick it over to Mason to kind of let you know or let us know what his vision is for getting a new logo and kind of what he stands for and what his brand's all about.
Yeah, so this is going to be for the Marketing Ladder, which is my own personal podcast. And the way that the Marketing Ladder was initially built from a logo perspective is I just kind of throw out the idea of like, why don't I build a podcast? And I needed a logo. So I just went into Canva and pulled in a headshot, did the Marketing Ladder, and found a JPEG of a ladder and replaced the E in ladder with an actual ladder. And I just used a Canva template, and that has been what we've been running with.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting opportunity to talk about Canva. I feel like on LinkedIn especially, I see a lot of like designers that trash on Canva, right? Like, if you use Canva, you're not a real designer or whatever, and like how I see it is like it's a tool, right? Yeah. And if that tool helps you get to an end quicker or inspires you or gives you something that you can use. So I use Canva usually when I'm in bed. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like tucked in bed doing stuff on LinkedIn. And like I just don't have time to like come all the way back downstairs and like fire up the computer and like work something up. So I'll just jump into Canva and like do something quick. And yeah, oftentimes it's good enough, So little segue of like why Canva can work, right? It doesn't have to just be like trash,
Yeah, for me, it was definitely with launching the podcast, it was how do I get a minimum viable product out the door and not spend like any money? So even for my own I didn't invest in any equipment for the podcast until episode 14.
Okay.
So I haven't touched it. What I did is I created 4 different versions of a logo and then put it up on LinkedIn to let people vote to see what people would like.
Yeah.
And then I just ran with the one that people liked. So I'm really not married to any elements of it. It was just something that was an easy 30 minutes, and I have no design experience at all. So that was pretty much it. And the goal of the podcast is to help other marketers land new careers. So the other kind of podcast that I had in my head was essentially this concept of the friendly marketer. So kind of the brand identity that I would love to have is someone that is genuinely kind, helpful, and approachable.
Approachable as we're both sitting here,
Yeah, all sitting here.
Like, don't, what they always say, don't.
Yeah, the most approachable, bald-bearded man.
Yeah, and you definitely are that. Being on your podcast was super cool, and just the way that you're able to kind of extract stories from people and kind of help them tell that story in a way that helps other people kind of envision what their marketing career could look like. It's really cool. So that's exciting. So, I mean, if you had to like kind of like put the essence into some words, right? I mean, friendly, approachable would be kind of some of the ones that you mentioned. I mean, do you have anything else there?
Intentional and growth. So as I think like intentionality, it seems like those that have had some really like intense career growth and that actually land in a leadership seat, most of them are not landing there by accident. And especially if you're listening to an exclusively marketing careers podcast, there's an intentionality behind wanting to grow. And again, it's all growth focused. It's not how do you maintain the status quo so that you can continue to get 3% income increases and get ever so slightly better year over year, but it's how do I incredibly blow up my career to make a massive impact on people.
Yeah.
Cool.
So as far as like elements in a logo, when we jump over to the whiteboard here, like what do you envision us attacking, right? Do we want, it's funny because we've already done like a couple podcast ones, interestingly, but like, do you think you want us to focus on like the holistic like podcast cover, or do you think we ought to just focus on the logo itself? And then you can kind of in Canva take that logo into the podcast.
I think that's an interesting idea because, like, honestly, as I look at it, the current font and lettering of the Marketing Ladder logo, like, there's not really a logo. There's just the podcast cover, and it would not translate well to anything else.
Yeah.
So I think I'd want to focus in on the logo that way, long term. Like I had a couple conversations with Mike over at MoPros, and like the marketing operations professional community, they've got a killer logo. And the MoPros is a visual identity in and of itself. And I don't think, the Marketing Ladder font is just Montserrat with a JPEG ladder in it.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to go anywhere.
What's that one called? The marketing operation?
MoPros. So I can drop a link real quick.
Yeah, if you drop it. Let's see. Chat. We've got Jared Anderson on the chat. I always forget to turn the chat on, so it's funny. Oh, this is like the company that you work for.
Sorry, that was the wrong link from a previous thing that I needed to copy and paste. Dang, Flabbit, it is not letting me copy and paste. Sorry for the language. You'll have to edit that out.
Dang, Flabbit.
Dadgummit. My kid has like a little Mater truck, and Mater says Dadgummit all the time. So
there you go. There's MoPros.
Says Dadgummit all the time. Funny. Yeah, I think definitely like focusing in on a logo is probably a smart idea, right? Because then that can apply to different mediums, right? Like you're probably not going to put your whole podcast cover as your logo on LinkedIn or something, right? It's just too much going on in a small space. So,
and currently that's what it is.
Yeah.
So like, I would love to change that. Or for example, again, if it ever does genuinely take off and becomes like an entity in and of itself, I'm not going to put my face on a T-shirt as like a logo.
You could. I'd wear it. Your nice shiny bald head right there.
My goodness.
Okay, so I think we've got a pretty good idea, and obviously you're gonna stay on the line, and kind of give us ideas or feedback as we go. Like, ooh, I like that one. I don't like that one. It's kind of tricky the way we've been doing it. One of us is inverted on the whiteboard, so you kind of have to like get creative on how you're looking at it. But I think in general you can kind of see what's going on there. So yeah, we are going to just kind of change up the setup here a little bit. Flick on some more lights. Hopefully that's enough. Got the B cam rolling. So we'll go there and we will we'll banish you to the corner.
Man.
So that hopefully whoever's watching and you yourself as we're kind of sketching here can stay up and keep track of what we are sketching. So we'll go ahead and kind of jump into it. Again, we're going into the next segment of the 30 minutes here where we draw concepts for Mason's new logo. So we'll jump into it, and I'll turn the volume up a little bit so we can hear you better because we're not as close to the computer, and we'll go from there, man.
Awesome.
All right.
Make sure the Crocs make their little debut. Yeah, America.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
It's never fair because my back is always up against the reference material.
Well, I've got ladders up there too. I really like these.
Here I go drawing too big.
It's your first one. Go on.
Okay, I'm starting smaller. It's almost like you got to draw kind of big so that they can see it.
That's true.
Everything you've already done is better than what I currently have.
Another color.
I know, colors are fun.
Just to kind of show what's the reference
Oh,
and
yeah.
what's the not reference, you know. So that looks kind of complicated, but I'm kind of thinking something that ends up looking like a shadow in 3D.
I know these are going to be really hard to tell because we're all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm going to write myself a little note so I know what I'm thinking.
Got a nice blender going in the background there.
So, of the designs you guys have thrown out, which one is your favorite currently?
I think this one.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
Really?
The one Haley's done right here. Something like
there's
that.
like a negative space one up there that I really liked.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. This.
But like if I did two different colors and I kind of had like an overlay going, it might look really cool.
Yeah, I really want to figure out like a way to turn like an M. Like I kind of like this one where it's kind of got like some essence of an M in it without being like super obvious. I'm just trying to see if like there's a good way to like embody like an M.
Yeah, as a non-designer, I tried that as well, and that's why we changed the E into a ladder.
Yeah.
But I love an M that represents a ladder because I think that's going to be a great logo to put on on merch.
Yeah. Something like that. Once we get into vector, might find a cool way to make that look neat. With some like stroke on it, and some kind of other stuff going on. At that point, you kind of lose the M in it, but.
Two minutes.
Oh my gosh, 2 minutes. So many, there's so many ways, I don't know, it's hard to fit the letter into anything because, oh no, it's time. Oh, goodness.
Dang.
Oh, it goes so fast.
It does.
I'm impressed by the number of concepts you came up with in 10 minutes.
It's fast.
Yep, just kind of
It's definitely a lot.
brain vomit onto the whiteboard.
Yeah, so the idea, I can't ever tell if they can see me or not. The idea,
Yeah, I can see you.
Right, is just get as much on the paper as you can and not reject your stupid ideas in the middle of making them because you never know what's going to spawn something else, So
Mm-hmm.
as far as what's on there right now, Mason, okay, what do we do now? Show them to the camera real quick.
Yeah.
As far as what's on there, obviously there's more riffing and stuff that happens after the fact. But does anything stand out there to you?
Yeah, a little higher, yeah.
Can we flip the whiteboard?
Flip it to Haley's side, of course.
Well, y'all have both thrown out that there was one on this end that you both loved, and it was this negative space one.
Yeah.
Let's see which one.
It's funny because the original first concept that I was drawing here is a similar concept. I just didn't do as good a job at sketching what it was going to look like.
Yeah, that's a little bit
final,
funky
but
looking. It needs some help yet.
This, I'm happy to be wrong, but honestly, I like the M on a ladder that has the arrow up. I was thinking that if you've seen Dave Gerhardt's podcast Pipeline, his is just an arrow up, and the M could easily, instead of being a ladder, translate over into the growth aspect of things.
Mm-hmm.
Or the one right below that's essentially two ladders intersecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm curious if that'll look.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly how that'll translate. And then I like the negative space idea. Can we flip it back over? And I want to throw out one more. This box thing kind of reminds me of the S that everyone used to draw in school. Yep.
The gang sign
We're back to
that we drew last time.
But honestly, of these, I like the direction that the TML was going. Of just the initials, and then maybe trying to figure out how do we make the initials translate into a logo that kind of incorporates the visual identity that we're trying to exude.
Yeah.
So I gave you 4 options. Sorry if that's too much.
I mean, it's a lot.
I like your negative space one too. I think that would be cool with some color
that could
on
look
it.
cool. Okay, so which ones did we say? We said this one and
the M one.
The two ladders, the arrow, and then the general direction of the initials.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cuckoo.
Cool.
Switch it up again. Wow, and we're back.
Why, hello.
We've got Nick Wozniak on here. What's going on? I always wonder what percentage of the comments actually make it to Restream, because it's not always a lot, and I don't always pay attention to them rolling in. I got something. Oh, I got something beeping. It's it's Haley. Okay, so we will go like this. Haley goes on the bottom. Our creative director goes on the left. And Rex will fire up Illustrator at some point. Screen. Hey, look, it's Michelle J. Raymond's concepts from yesterday.
Wow.
That's how much I've done in Illustrator since then.
All right, let me know when you're ready to start the time.
All right, I am ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Ready enough. We need to get Haley set up so she gets a little screen capture too, so you can see her doing her stuff. What one am I doing again? TML. So you use Montserrat so far?
Yes. Just generally speaking, I don't know why, but that one, Montserrat is my favorite font in general.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a good it's good.
I also feel like it's definitely at this point fairly overused by a lot of different brands.
Well, I mean, the cool thing about Montserrat is that it looks a lot like Gotham. So we'll put it next to Gotham Gotham's like a paid font, but like very similar, right? A little bit wider on some of
Yeah.
the letter marks, right? But like it's pretty similar to Gotham. Gotham's a good one. It's expensive. It's like $300 to get like the whole set or something. So
Jeez.
for people who like aren't doing stuff day in and day out, it doesn't make sense to use Gotham necessarily.
Yes. Also, Rex, I don't know if we were meant to, but we have lost your video.
What the?
Just figured I'd let you know.
Oh no.
That's weird. I did not mean to. Great. Oh, what happened? I must have hit a shortcut key. Enable camera apparently is V, and I push V all the time in Illustrator, so that'll be okay. I guess it only does it when I'm clicked on Restream, so that's interesting. The marketing ladder. Especially if it's just 3 letters, like using martial arts not going to kill us.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My keyboard shortcuts like never work for some reason. Let's see how funky that looks. Kind of weird. I don't know. So,
I now get the negative space one.
Okay.
That looks pretty cool.
yeah, I think that looks pretty neat. And like especially, yeah, so the idea, right, is then to add like a shadow as if it was coming off the wall. Yeah, I think that'll look cool. Here's the step that everybody pretends like we never do. Ladder logos, images. Like, oh, that one's cool. That's like slightly interesting to me because it's like abstract, but you kind of get the T and then an M as the ladder and the L. I don't know. It's a little abstract, but abstract could work.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened to that?
I don't know how to make shadows apparently. Oh god, 3.5 minutes. What's the other one I'm doing?
Pen tool, this thing. No, this is just like a makeshift of like, having a font that kind of matches that would kind of tie into that, meaning the marketing ladder. Could do an M that was just like 3 lines. There could be like an ant, like, it would say the marketing ladder, that would be your M. And there could be an animation that would like take the M and like flip it up. You could like morph the marketing ladder up into the logo. And like once you saw that one time, like this logo would all of a sudden be like, oh yeah, that's rad. It's like a T, sideways M, L.
Yeah.
How much longer do we have? 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Jeez.
If there's even remotely the time, I'd love to see the M that has the arrow pointing up. There may not even be remotely close to time.
Oh, jeez. Hit escape. This is gonna look stupid.
I'm trying. I don't have time to make it look nice. Yeah, it's whatever.
It'd be cool if like there was a good way to like add some like ladder elements to this. Goodness gracious.
I want to know why this won't just align with it.
I don't know, something.
I mean, what you were able to crank out in 30 minutes is incredible.
It's kind of fun how that works out. To have some, I don't know, certainly some cool concepts. So this is this is always the weird phase. It's like, okay, time's up. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
Ladders are too complicated to do in 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think that negative space concept looks pretty cool, but would definitely need refinement to like be just right.
Yeah.
Be cool if you could just add a drop shadow onto it and have it work.
Right.
I think it looks really cool. I guess it's like so cool that I don't know how to use it in like a podcast logo at this moment, but I think it's an incredible starting point.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mason, like as far as, in logo design, oftentimes, and especially in this format when it's like 30 minutes, it's
Yeah.
just like, which one do you think looks the coolest? Okay, that's the one that wins, right? And which is like a disservice to branding, right? Because branding is so
Yes.
much more than that, right? So as far as like communicating the essence of the brand, what concept do you think nails that the best? Because like certainly like
Yeah.
there are concepts that look cool, right? But do any of these, do you feel like they kind of capture the essence of what the marketing ladder is?
I mean, I think at it, like this might be so frustrating because it took you 2 minutes, but I think the M with the arrow, because I don't necessarily, I know that's probably incredibly frustrating, but it's like I as a person am really like straightforward
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just
And the
pretty,
podcast is very straightforward.
it's very straightforward. So like, I think the abstract concept looks really cool, but the podcast and like the brand is not really an abstract brand. It's like
Yeah.
very clear, very upfront, very direct. Like
Yeah.
you're going to grow your career.
Yeah. So kind of along that vein, right? I think like obviously me, right? I drew it, right? But I really like this kind of black, like that concept to me is like something that I would put on a hat. It's something that I would put on a shirt and I would like think that it was like cool
I
looking,
do
right?
like that a lot.
But at the same time, like I think I agree with you in that this kind of like abstract concept doesn't necessarily match what you stand for or what the brand stands for, right? So this is a perfect example where maybe the coolest looking logo,
Yeah.
I think with a little bit, I mean, literally like that took me less than 1 minute, right? But I think with like a little bit more intentionality of like going down that concept path, I could end up with something that still looked cool while also captured like that simplicity and intentionality of what you're going for. And the thing that I do like about this is like, I know it's easy to like riff off of ladder concepts, right? Because ladder is in the name, right?
Yeah.
But it's almost like too obvious, right? And like this more signifies what the podcast is about because it's not about ladders, right? If it was the ladder podcast and you actually were like talking about ladders and manufacturing of ladders and all that stuff, then having a ladder logo might represent it, right? And it still can, right? Because ladder, you climb the ladder, like that's definitely like an essence of what the podcast is about, right? Climbing your career, taking those huge leaps and bounds, right? But like just the essence of climbing is really what it's all about. And this is a less obvious embodiment of that.
Yeah. I think that the potential would be, if we wanted to incorporate ladders in any form or fashion, like the odd concept here, and I don't know if it would even turn out, but like the M could be growth, the L could be a ladder, and like off the main stem of the L have like a small ladder, which may look completely stupid. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But this is also supposed to be 30 minutes of Stoke, and I've already dragged us out to 40. So
it never, the longer we go, the less often we actually go 30 minutes. But as you were saying that, this just kind of gave me an idea of like something like a marketing ladder. Maybe we do the arrow concept on the M, but then just like connecting these with the ladder. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Obviously, I'm struggling here.
No, but I mean, like,
something like that where, I mean, that's bad, but like something with that essence of like the ladder is kind of in this negative space between the two letters. I think something like that could be cool too.
I think that's it. Like, I'm so sorry that it was not nearly as complicated as we wanted to make it out, but like,
yeah,
it's growth. There's a ladder theme. You can put that on it. Like, that works fine as a logo.
I wonder if some sort of something like that to like, I don't know.
I mean, if we want, sorry, this is an idea, and this is again based off of Dave Gerhardt's podcast, A Pipeline, but like he has a pie chart, or not a pie chart. That was, oh my goodness. He's got an an X and Y axis, and that, results in growth. Like the L could just be a graph of growth.
Yeah. Why is that not getting me that big image? There we go. Yeah, pipeline, just growth. Yeah. So I can see that like an L, and then just like something, make that blue, or I don't know, whatever. Honestly, like I think something like this is pretty clean. The only thing is like it's a little bit imbalanced because there's nothing going on over here, right? So that's what I was thinking, like add a little arrow or something to just kind of like balance it out. And that's obviously not drawn to scale because it was like 2 seconds, but I think that concept could be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haley's kind of got a better embodiment of it over there.
Boom.
That's cool.
I wonder if we just did like.
It's almost like too many concepts, right? If you have the M and the L and the ladder and the arrow, it feels like it becomes too much.
Yeah, I think the arrow might make it too much. I think just
if
the
it was
image.
just the arrow, like if it was just that,
Yeah.
I think that could work, or just that.
Yeah.
Something like that,
And honestly, what
I'm gonna put this on a hat, irregardless of what we're doing.
That's a super cool logo.
That's gonna go in the back pocket for when somebody else wants something that I think that would work for. I'm like, here you go, done, $5,000.
Amazing. But no, I mean, I think like the bold M and L with the thin lines that connect it to make it look like a ladder, that's solid right there. That's really it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that way, we can still use like Montserrat, so you don't even have to change like anything else,
Mm-hmm.
Like might not be the best font in the world, but like
I mean,
it's good. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I feel like I'm raining on your parade a little bit because you created these incredible like negative space. Like
That's
all the other
thing,
logos look super cool.
Like simplicity is often the best anyway, so it's like oftentimes like we come up with these like crazy ideas of like, oh, this is so cool, but like how can we take that and water it down into something that's simple and memorable and easy to replicate, right? Because like, I mean, there's a lot of theory about logos, right? But you want to be able to recall a logo like very quickly after seeing it, right? And like if we went with that, that's probably pretty quick to recall. But like Haley's super cool, like shadow negative space one, like nobody's going to be able to draw that like correctly after looking at it for 5 seconds, right? Versus this, that's like that's quick to remember. Something here is like really quick. So I think it's funny to be like, oh, I don't want to rain on your parade, but really like ending up with the best design is what's important, right? And like most oftentimes, like that's just the simple, something simple.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, I mean, typically what we do, I mean, honestly, the discussion at the end is probably the best part, right? Because it like, you get kind of to the essence of like what a brand and what a logo is and what it means and what it ought to signify and kind of the strategy behind it, but.
Yeah. And I think if we made the lines a little bit thinner, then
looks more like a ladder.
That's good to go on a shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty rad. I like it. Okay. As far as colors, I mean, I know we're over time, but are you pretty married to your colors or
Nope.
no? Okay. Okay, we'll throw some color on it and we'll ship them out. And we finally started like catching up where we like do a little recap and make a post about it after the fact. So
Heck yeah.
we'll do that and ship these off to you, man.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all.
And I'm definitely putting that on some leather and I'm going to glue it on right here on my hat.
I'm just saying, if we want to make hats to remember this day, that's the logo to remember the day.
Logo. Yep. Awesome, man. It was good to chat, dude. Good to see you. Catch up. It was another fun one.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
Yep. See you, Mason.
See ya.